Thank you again for all joining us here as we run through this webinar today. And I appreciate you all being here live. If you want to throw in the chat, just to make sure it's working, throw a 1 in the chat, just so that way I know it's good to go. But those that are watching the replay, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Leave questions in the comments and we will jump in there. But let's get moving as we go along today. So breaking down the agenda of what we have going on. We're breaking down Zegers Automotive in particular here. We're walking through these different phases. So website overhaul, SEO, local visibility, their pay-per-click Google ad campaigns, CRM automation, reviews, reputation, integration, continuous optimization, and then kind of just overall data at the end of the day of what their books look like. So that way you can properly understand kind of the numbers financially of what we did and why it did make an impact from there. Okay. So why case studies matter at the end of the day. So transparency drives trust. And so here, again, we want to make sure that we're sharing real stories of both the wins, the challenges, things that went on in the background to ensure that people are aware of what goes on. We do not want to be, I know there are complaints about kind of cookie cutter strategies, cookie cutter marketing companies, cookie cutter websites. It's kind of the go-to kind of almost verbiage is that cookie cutter thing that people don't want to have, and they want something unique. And so hopefully here today, I'm able to delve into why what we do is not cookie cutter in terms of it's a iterative process based on what someone has currently going on before they come on board, kind of goals and strategies that we have as we go through the beginning phases, and then what it grows into. So this shop is going to be over a span of 2 years. So again, marketing is not an overnight effort. Like if you're looking to, I switched to a marketing company, and by the middle of the first month or the end of the first month, I'm looking for this explosive growth, then typically you're going to be severely disappointed. Every once in a while, you catch fire, and it's like, yeah, things for whatever reason switched and changed very quickly, and things grew and exploded from there. But that isn't always the typical deal where everyone sees like such a big ginormous growth, especially when we're talking about the hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in MRR, which obviously is you're looking at a run rate over a year of well over $1 million of increased in revenue that goes to your bottom that top line revenue. Then that isn't going to be, again, a magic potion that happens over one thing that took place. So we're going to break down those different things here. Iteration is going to be everything. So the best performing shops aren't lucky, they're adaptable. So again, there's certain strategies that work for one area that doesn't necessarily is going to work for every single area across the board. Thus where the cookie cutter effort doesn't work all the time. So there obviously is a go-to strategy and process that works for most places. And that's, again, the rubric and the foundation of which we start off with most shops. It's like, hey, we know this has worked before. Let's implement this typical strategy based on, again, similar pain points that another person has. And then we see from there if it works. It's not a set it and forget it type of deal where, oh, yep, we know it's going to work, where everything is fine and dandy. Like, no, it's not always going to be that way. We need to make sure that those things that got changed are, again, affecting change in that right manner. So hopefully what you'll walk away with, how data translate to real growth. And so understanding data is going to be a very important element. And really, the data is only going to be as good as the inputs that are going through and moving across. So a lot of the times, say when someone comes on board with us, there's a lot of data that they maybe previously had, but who knows how that data was then, again, being interpreted, being inputted. So just for example, a conversion in, say, a Google ad campaign is defined differently by a lot of different marketing companies. Like sometimes some people on accident or on purpose, I don't know, they may forget to change the settings of a conversion. So thus where, hey, any call or any click and then any call that even lasts 1 second would count as conversion. Now it makes it look like now your cost per conversion is super low and super affordable. Look how great it is. But really at the end of the day, it's not quality leads coming through. If you end up delving down into what a quality lead is, now that cost per conversion looks way higher than maybe what the industry standard should be. And then you're like, oh, well, I didn't know that because the data wasn't right. And again, you can only determine certain things based on the data that's going to be in there. So hopefully we're going to help define and help you understand what that should look like. So that way, again, at the end of the day, you can't make up revenue numbers and things like that and car count. You see those things that are there maybe directly in your shop management software. So we want to make sure though that based on certain marketing efforts, things are making sense. The story is making sense along the way. So which marketing channels, again, make the biggest impact? We'll be talking about those different channels. Ideas to improve your shop performance starting today. So different things that hopefully what we talk about today, you'll be able to look at yourself and then determine like, oh yeah, these are things that we need to work on right away. Or nope, I think we're doing well at this thing, but maybe this other thing isn't doing as well. So hopefully those different things will be looked at across the board, and the clear roadmap at the end of the day for continuous improvement. That's the name of the game. We want everyone that's here, if you're here and you're listening, regardless of live or replay, you're hopefully looking to improve. And so with this, maybe there's even one small nugget that you take out of this that helps you improve. That's a big win for me. So let's get on the way of what we have going on. So let's meet Zegers Automotive here. So they're based in Columbus, Nebraska. It's a suburb just outside of Omaha, Nebraska. And shop size here, we're talking about 10 plus bays, full service auto repair. They do general auto repair service. So we're not, again, talking about a siloed shop that's maybe a Euro-based shop or a diesel shop, things like that. We have those, but in this situation, we're going to be talking about a general auto repair shop. So the partnership began again today, 2 years ago, which is crazy that is pure coincidence that happened to happen on the day that they actually began, was the day before Halloween, and here we are exactly 2 years from the day. So hopefully that helps us again see that full journey over 2 years. And then they end up signing up for our ultimate program, which coincided of website SEO, pay-per-click, CRM, and reputation management. So the pillars of their growth strategy. So one, they wanted a new website. Website is again a modern conversion-driven foundation. We needed to get that updated. SEO, long-term visibility. They knew that they needed in the long term. They wanted to have overall domination in their local market. At the same time, we needed to get things in the door and things moving. So pay-per-click became a great way of like, we want to implement this ad campaign foundation. So fast targeted traffic, again, with measurable ROI. We don't want to spend money just to spend money because we think it's working and we hope it's working or we feel it's working or vice versa. We don't want those things. We want data telling us what is happening at the end of the day. Then CRM and automation, so turning those leads into repeat customers. So it's one thing to get a customer in the door. It's another thing to bring them back. So a lot of the bring back effort absolutely comes from the service that's taking place in the shop itself, the foundation and the operations that you all have built in your stores. But there's also efforts that can be done marketing wise to help those things come back, help them repeat, help them remember the experience that they had at the shop. Because again, the experience is very important in the shop, but it's very important outside as well. And kind of the overall communication on every text, every email, every social post across the board, everything should have a purpose behind what your brand is trying to do in the local area. And then reputation management, building that digital trust and credibility, just really at the end of the day, getting reviews. They didn't have very many to begin with. And so we needed to get them a lot more to help create that local domination there. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the website overall. So a lot of people are maybe unsure of like, oh, do I need a new website? When is the right time to have a new website? It's all going to come down to, at the end of the day, like, is your website converting into bringing people in the door? And there's different ways. It's not just a measure of, no one really visits my website and thus I don't see any clicks on there. Like that doesn't tell the whole story. There's obviously a lot of different ways that Google is reading all the data on your website itself. It's just kind of a data warehouse at this point. We need to make sure there are the right data points there that help everything else across the board. So overall, these were quick problems that we identified. In the beginning, it was a question of like, are we able to keep the websites or do we need a new one? Immediately in this situation, we're like, we definitely need a new one because of like just the bones that were here were not what we needed to have in the long term. At the end of the day, as a marketing company, we're being held accountable for bringing leads, bringing calls and cars through the door. Like that's what we need to do. And so if we at times rely on something that was done in the past, and if the foundation isn't right, we're not going to keep it that way. We need to make sure that, again, we're looking at a long-term game of making sure that this shop can grow exponentially year after year after year. And then again, creating the right foundation with your website is going to be a big piece of that. So their site was sort of a digital brochure, as we like to explain it, where it was informational, but not really persuading anyone to do anything even Google itself, not persuading it to rank them better and appear for certain elements. There just wasn't really any information there. It was very blunt and dry and not really taking advantage of the game that there is within Google. And then even more importantly, there's a poor mobile experience. So say 70% of visits are through the mobile phone. And so it's very important to understand the active conversion that's happening on the mobile versus desktop. They should look uniform, but there are certain tweaks and things that should be done on the mobile phone that again make more sense just for how the average consumer scrolls with literally just their thumb and looking with their eyes versus having a much bigger screen that kind of encapsulates what's going on there. So we needed to make sure that again we had a way better mobile experience, making sure that we can track certain things and calls that are happening across the board. They're having a low conversion rate. So the traffic that was even visiting the website, nothing was happening from there. Like there are certain calls to actions in terms of they weren't really calling on the link that were on the website. They weren't filling out and requesting appointments. Nothing was really happening on there. So then we're seeing that SEO wise, they weren't really ranking and appearing for many words. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that Google understands all the services you offer, and then also making sure that then coincides with appearing as people type these, again, local relative searches that should be finding auto repair shops and finding your shop as the high one. And they were just not really being found. It was really as if they had a phone number on the 370th page in a phone book and no one's flipping through it that far. Okay, so we needed to make sure that it's just literally making it easy to be found. And then they had no integration with any CRM. So that meant that, again, there wasn't any follow-up campaigns. There was a lot of loss of visibility into ROI in terms of the longevity and long lifetime value of a customer. So we needed to make sure that we created that data point so that way we could see customers that are coming back, how many repeats that they're having, what is causing them to repeat versus ones that are not. And again, playing with the data there. So what we changed across the board. So we went with a full redesign of the website. So the redesign, again, some elements they like the overall, maybe it's the simple aesthetic of what was appearing there, but there are certain elements again in the background and the bones that needed to take place to create the right actions across the board. So it's not always where you just need a full sweeping change and should look nothing like your previous website. That's not always the situation. And again, the overall feel of a site should be heavily involved with the owner and how you want kind of your online digital footprint to appear really forever across the board. Like what do you want it to feel like? And that's going to be different for everyone. And so that's where, again, that cookie cutter approach of like, hey, we have one template for you to choose from. So everyone's website is going to look the same across the nation or even across your local area. If they don't offer exclusivity, that's not going to be ideal. Like you want to have uniqueness to your own brand. And so with kind of a back and forth dialogue that we have with all our shops, we are able to create something that they want at the end of the day. But there also are certain non-negotiables of like, hey, we need these certain things here on the website. There should be these pages on the website. It should be talked about in this way with these words. Again, we will have a back and forth. Maybe some people want certain things said, but at the end of the day, we need it to rank in Google. So, for example, not a lot of people like being called mechanics. They want to be called service techs or service tech technicians or service techs, or again, something that shows a little bit more clout behind the role, which absolutely, like, the role is very, very difficult. But the average folk types in mechanic. That's what they type in Google. And so we need to make sure that some of those words are sprinkled in throughout the site to ensure that there's a very strong likelihood of ranking very, very well for it. Now, Google's smart and knows that, hey, an auto repair shop is very, very correlative to a mechanic, and it'll rank well that way. But again, keeping it simple, having the exact words that are needed is kind of the direction that we really want to go to at the end of the day. So photo redesign focused on conversion first, structure, and clear CTAs are call to actions. So just making sure that we know what we want to happen here. Like easy to call button, easy to make an appointment, very clear. And then create dedicated page for major services and local SEO keywords. So the services, not only, again, we need to make sure we have an oil change page and a brake repair page and suspension repair page, just kind of the go-tos that happen there. but then also we want to make sure it's correlating to the local area. So not all the time where will just be like where your city is located, will it be the only place that you should rank for. Again, so say you're in a slightly rural area, or you're very close to the border of another city where customers come from, we need to make sure that we're layering that information into Google the right way. And again, we don't want to spam keywords or anything like that, but we want to make sure we're blending in certain things of how you should be ranking across the board. You don't want to, sometimes people only focus on the city itself of where they're located, but maybe that's not where the best customers are all the time. And so we need to make sure that, again, we're understanding with an owner, having a conversation of like, okay, where are the go-to areas that we need to understand of like, these are the ideal customers, they're located here. And those things may not only always be the given city of where you're located. Okay, so that's important to know and understand. And then connecting form fills and calls directly to CRM tracking. So then again, that way, when say a missed call or things happen, we were able to create quick follow-up campaigns when an action takes place by the consumer. If they're interested and for whatever reason you're not able to get to them right away, you need to make sure that there's automation behind reaching out to them immediately, because if not, they will just go on to the next place, and we don't want that. It was already difficult enough to get them to take an action. You want that to at least create a likelihood of at least having a conversation with you to bring that vehicle in, because if not, then a lot of the marketing effort becomes for naught. And then we need to make sure we enhance the speed, mobile layout, usability overall of the site. So a slow loading website does not necessarily affect rank, but it definitely frustrates the consumer. Like if I'm on my phone and I see a website is not like the bar is moving super slow, the screen's all white, I can't see what I want to see within 10 seconds, I'm jumping out and I'm going back and going to the next search result, and hopefully that one loads a lot quicker. Maybe it's the Wi-Fi, and then you find out, oh, it's the Wi-Fi's fault. But again, at the end of the day, you want to create a quick loading site, so that way you have the chance to give them that information. Right. So results in improvements across the board. Here you can see different services being mentioned, toggled. They each have their own pages that then speak to and local SEO for that given service word. We saw a noticeable increase in user engagement and time on page. So time on page, again, is not another, it's a mechanism of trust built for Google. So the longer an individual stays on a website, the more likely it is telling Google that the information being given on the site is valuable, because they're taking their time of going through the site. They're not seeing people just jump in, jump out. It's going to be called a bounce rate. The higher your bounce rate, typically now, the less trust that Google assumes is taking place on the site. And so that's where the speed of a page can affect a bounce rate, because if the page is not loading and people will leave right away, that affects your bounce rate, but then thus it affects your ranking. So you want to make sure that you're looking at all these different things of engagement and time, and that all helps give Google more data of trusting your, again, digital footprint. So seamless flow between ads and website, CRM, car count tracking. Again, we want to move that across the board. Website became the foundation that improved pay-per-click and SEO performance. So again, website is very important. Yes, people don't go on it quite as often as they used to, but it is still where Google understands you. And if Google understands you, then you rank in as many different places as possible, especially with AI searches and whatnot becoming more and more prevalent. The more information that you have that speaks to it, that is valuable, the higher likelihood that then, again, you are appearing in all these different formats. So this is website impressions over a 14-month time span. So you can see here where we looked at July of 2024. So what we had here was we had an update to our reporting. So that's why I don't have it back all the way to say November of 2023. Really, that's a winter month. So everything was lower. And as we went through, we revamped reporting. But unfortunately, when we revamped reporting, we couldn't carry over any historical data. So it was just a sacrifice that we had to have there in terms of at least visibility as you see it here. But here you can see impressions over a July 2024 timeframe, which is again, typically a peak summer month, which should be higher, but it's only at 5.7K. Then comparative to just, I can still say last month. Yeah, it's October. So compared to September of 2025, so about a year and change later, we're already more than double, 12.3K of just natural website impressions that are happening over the month. Some months are reaching well over 20K impressions. So again, we didn't want to just cherry pick the highest thing that happened there. We just wanted to give you an overall look. So the dotted line, as you can see here, is the one current. The solid line happens to be the one previous. So hopefully that makes sense there. So that's the website stuff. Any questions there in terms of anything I went over? Hopefully that all makes sense. Again, feel free to leverage the chat function and throw in any questions as you have them, because I will absolutely take the time to walk through and go through those answers for you. So if not, I'm going to keep moving along, and I'll just keep peeking over as we go through this. Okay. So SEO and local visibility. So this is again a very key element, and really the bread and butter of ranking and appearing and getting results as quickly as possible, because the maps are where everyone goes to find some place to go. In this situation, an auto repair shop is a destination where you have to drive to, and so thus people will go to the maps to get their results. And if you're not ranking in the maps, if you're not being found well in the maps, you're going to be in a world of hurt typically, because again, it gives people quick results, and you want to be one of those quick results to be chosen from. So here's again SEO heat map of what things were like before we started. And obviously red is not good in this situation, nor is not even having a number appearing for ranking for a simple word like auto repair. So there was a lot going on in terms of Google Business Profile not speaking to Google the right way, and allowing it to understand that, hey, yeah, this is a viable business that should be ranking very, very well in the area. Is there a free heat map app you suggest? I don't know which ones are free out there anymore. So we leverage a few, but naturally all the heat maps spit out different information. So that also makes things quirky and unique. One of the newer ones that we're liking lately, it's through White Spark. Then again, it's spitting out some pretty good information, but we typically we've used Bright Local, we've used Local Viking, there's Local Falcon. So there's a bunch of different elements. And again, for anyone, I'm happy because we just like have a running accumulation of credits, that certain amount of credits it takes to run each one. So I'm happy to run it free for anyone, anytime. You just reach out to me, ask one of our team members, and we can just quickly spit out what things look like for you for any given keyword. The ones typically for when you use a heat map though for near me keywords, they typically spit out very, very wonky results across the board. If for whatever reason it's spitting out more like actual number results consistently, it's probably more going to be tied to just the word auto repair, because it's just when you do a near me search, it is very, very locally dependent upon where exactly someone is searching from. And so what these websites do, again, they're grabbing it from these geographical locations the best that they can, but the near me sort of overrides it at times, and so it just spits out very, very weird information. So again, if you're typing in anything with a near me at the end of it, using one of these heat map tools, use it with a grain of salt in terms of that information. But if you're just typing in auto repair, oil change, etc., that again gives you a barometer check of maybe where things are at, how things maybe should improve. But when you see things that are all red across the board, that typically is not good. You can't really fake that too much. And so this definitely told us that the Google Business Profile was weak, and we needed to make again some big updates and create just better results of Google's product there. Because the more and the better that you use Google's products, the better that you'll tend to perform. Google likes when you use their product, right? And they also had no local citations or keyword-rich service pages. So again, they weren't really being found across the board for a lot of the go-to services there. All right, and so what we changed, so we optimized the Google Business Profile. So we wanted to make sure that we had monthly blog posts. We had regular photos being updated with, again, not stock photos, but organic photos, consistently posting in the Google Business Profile. We use keyword-rich descriptions and updated categories. And so also leveraging products. So here you can see different products being highlighted. And so products will in this case just be services that you offer, and it's creating a product tile for each service. It's another element to create more data points for Google, helps it create quick, easy wins for different, again, services that you offer. Those tie back to the different service pages on the website, so on and so forth. All right. And that's how we added new SEO optimized service pages across the board, along coinciding with those product tiles. Okay. And we added 10 plus citations on the new website immediately after joining. So we wanted to make sure that we updated all the current citations. And so citations, for those that don't know, they are local directories that have, again, your business name, address, phone number listed in the ether. There's all kinds of directories out there. Some are very local to say within just your city or your community. Some are national and just based on categories. There's all kinds of citations out there, and some are worth a bit more than others, but that's where you want to make sure that's very clean and updated, and new ones are also being regularly added. And so typically in the beginning, when someone comes on board, we give a big push immediately to kind of give good data, but not too much data. And then slowly over time, we can see the right level in which to add them. And then backlinks from trusted auto directories. So a backlink will be typically almost like a mini blog post or article on different websites that then have links that go back to the site itself. So kind of like a referral system from different websites talking about your site. And again, it's just for the purpose of building trust with Google. It's like if someone else is talking about you versus you talking about yourself, people would trust when someone else is talking about you a little bit more, because you have something to gain by talking about yourself, while the other person not really as much. So that's where, again, same thing with backlinks. More of that's happening, the better that looks. So 2 backlinks per client per month is typically a good amount. And again, backlinks aren't the easiest to be able to build very vastly over time. I know there'll be some of those other websites where you can maybe buy backlinks and they'll give you like 50 of them within a month, and that you don't want that either, because typically the quality of those will be very poor. But then also, if you're getting that, it's typically unrealistic to Google for you to get that many backlinks at that short amount of time, unless you are, again, one of these behemoth brands that are out there that everyone talks about. But again, a local auto repair shop is not going to be that. So you want to make sure that the things are getting increased at, again, a normal way. And then visibility results. So here we can see heat maps that are going to be for auto repair itself. So these are just 2 different examples of the word auto repair being searched in the area with different points from, again, 2 different sources. So I believe this one was Bright Local, this one was Local Viking. And again, as you can see, the results are different, but overall you can see pretty consistently that it's showing good results, where now majority of the things are green, if not all of the things are green. And at the end of the day, we can also see that based on the results of how many more times the Google Business Profile is getting clicked on for calls and directions and just the overall actions taken. We know that makes sense, because if you're seeing more actions taken or less actions taken, and the inverse is happening on the heat maps, then there's something probably going a little wonky on there of results. You can't really make up the amount of calls and things that are happening on Google, especially if you have a tracking number. So if those things are really jumping up, but for whatever reason the heat map is not improving, it doesn't mean that your rankings are not improving at all. Like, obviously at the end of the day, if those actions are increasing, that's what you want to have happen, right? How often do you feel like these results change? Again, it's going to be hit or miss. And so sometimes people look at results every day, and that really won't speak to very many things, because there's not that many big sweeping changes that happen each and every day. Some things would bounce up and down and around. So typically once or twice a month, just peeking at it and seeing what it looks like is plenty, just to give an idea if things are moving in that right direction or not. But things definitely take time for change to take place. The time in which it takes place is going to be different for everyone as well. It depends on your competition, depends on where you're located, depends on what you've done in the past, to really give a proper idea of how quickly you are able to see really strong results. So these are jumping up from July to September. Organic impressions nearly doubled. Consistent local rankings across priority keywords. So those priority ones are the ones getting the most search volume. You can see the ones that get the most search volume based on your Google Search Console. So that Google Search Console is tied to your website shows all the different keywords and things that you appear for, how many that got searched in the area, etc. So those are the words that you want to appear well for. And then the Google Business Profile interactions up, more calls, direction requests directly from Google. And again, Google spits out those numbers for you there. And so these are just trends across the board that you can see in terms of a year-over-year comparison, month-over-month. Doesn't quite not to be the comparison that you want to look at. Some people just like seeing it just over that short barometer of time, but there's also seasonality involved. So comparing some months to others based on what month you're in isn't going to be the best trend, because typically you want to see that year-over-year trend though go up over time, especially in the early on engagement with a marketing vendor. I think that can speak volumes to kind of the performance that's taking place there. All right, so let's go to PPC and Google Ads. So before joining, they did not run any Google Ads whatsoever, and so that's not necessarily the worst thing. And people maybe have like, oh, I just want to get this base minimum amount of calls or whatever it may be, and ads just aren't needed. Like I get plenty of word of mouth or whatever it may be. But when you want to reach certain phases and certain goals of growth, ads definitely come into play and are definitely going to be necessary in some shape or form. Does it need to keep growing and growing and growing over time? No, like there definitely will be an end to a mean. Eventually, SEO does so well where Google Ads can definitely come way down, because they're like, hey, yeah, our capacity as a shop can only do so much. So there isn't a need to spend an exponential amount on Google Ads as well at the same time. Because if you can't take people, you're finding yourself like pushing it out, then yeah, I would definitely tone down the ads and make sure that, one, you don't want them to turn off, but you don't need to spend money to spend money. Like you want to make sure that you're doing things effectively there with what the shop can also handle. But they weren't running it, so no visibility into which services were driving the most calls. Honestly, there was no idea in terms of past data. So missed out on searches ready to book the same day repairs. They did not have any online scheduling software originally as well. And then there's pretty high competition in the area. Others were bidding on the keywords, and so thus where they weren't bidding at all, they weren't appearing organically. Pretty much zero chance of competing for any given keyword at any time. So the people that were coming in, solely word of mouth. They did a pretty good job, but again, that can only scale so quickly. It's almost like it's a very slow burn that's taking place there. So what we changed? So we launched a Google ad campaign on the lower end to start of just $1,000 a month. And again, if you are just getting started, I would say even now, that starting point, unfortunately, is probably going to have to be around $1,500 a month where you want to start your Google ad campaign to get good enough data of what's happening here. And this was also back when local service ads didn't exist. Local service ads are working very, very well right now, and definitely a very, very good strategy to leverage. But with AdWords, starting, again, earning that $1,000, $1,500 a month range is where you want to be to have viable results. Anything less than that, so you're at $500 a month, it's going to be very hard to get any qualified lead consistently, because your budget is getting used up by 1 or 2 clicks in a day. And hoping for 1 or 2 clicks to turn into a call is a very dangerous game to play, and more than likely you'll be wasting a lot of money over time. But with that, we set up conversion tracking for phone calls and form fillouts, reallocated ad spend and content strategy based on real-time results that we were seeing. We focused on high intent keywords like auto repair near me, brake repair, etc., not wasting time on some of the other ones that just weren't bringing quite as good results, and scaled campaigns based on the performance. So we didn't including increasing ad budget over time, because again, we were like, hey, we need to reach these certain goals. SEO is not an overnight thing. We're going to need these budget based on what you're trying to accomplish. They're on board with what we wanted to do based on the data. So went from April 2024 as the example of 10 conversions at $100 CPA, which again, $100 CPA is pretty high, and that's not where we want to be. But in the initial start of a Google ad campaign, it's always a learning phase. Things are never going to be as efficient as it is in the beginning as it will be to kind of current day. And then immediately within that month to month, boom, we were able to conversions increase to 32, brought the CPA down to $31 per again, CPA is just a cost per acquisition or cost per lead in that sense. So cutting that into a third, so 3 times efficiency gain by just simply the budget slowly increasing and optimizing what was going on there. So then budget doubled in 2025 to $2,000, still with a strong ROI, $2,000 per month. And then that consistent monthly call volume and sustained kind of new customer flow that's there. If starting a local service ads, how much do you recommend for Google ads versus local service ads? So that's a good question. And typically it's going to depend upon the size of the overall budget and also the types of service. So if you're a general auto repair shop, I would highly recommend, if you say, I only got $1,000 a month, I would say you would put all $1,000 into local service ads to start, because you typically get way quicker results right away with that. Because again, not as many people know about it. It hasn't even been across the nation for maybe just hit a year now. But again, not very long where local service ads has been available for automotive services across the nation. So with less competitors in that realm of ads, the higher likelihood it is for you to get a better cost per lead naturally, and then thus get better results with a lower dollar amount. But when you have bigger dollar amounts, then that split can be 75-25 leading local service ads. It can be 50-50, just depending upon, again, what you're trying to accomplish, the AdWords campaigns that you're trying to do. AdWords are very good at being able to be very specific of what you want to go after. Local service ads, you're kind of relying on Google quite a bit to like just trusting them to put the ads where they need to be. Now, will they always be in the right place? Absolutely not. But that's where you're able to like kind of rebuttal certain calls and get certain credits back by appealing that, hey, this wasn't a good lead, and they give you credit back. But you can't appeal too many times, because eventually you're just not going to appear for ads anymore, because you're like, we're not just going to give you leads for free. So you kind of got to balance that out a little bit. But AdWords is this, you're getting charged by the click versus the call, and you can hone down to the exact search types that are going to be in there. So good question. But hopefully that covers pay-per-click. All right. And let's go to CRM and automation, what kind of took place there. So problems we identified there. So they were using a different software previously. So there's no real formal follow-up process for web phone inquiries. Really, the text thing was very manual, so there wasn't any kind of automated campaigns or anything like that. So really, at the end of the day, the CRM wasn't being leveraged pretty much at all. Because if you have to do it manually, you don't think about it. That means no follow-up texts are going out. If no texts are going out, you don't really have a CRM. It just, you're paying for something that you're not using. So we want to make sure that it's being used in every shape or form. So missed opportunities for unbooked leads or one-time visits. We don't want that. Manual customer communication. So no real automation. Again, when there's no automation, that makes things clunky and hard for everyone. They need to remember everything. Not everyone can do that. So drop off between inquiry, appointment, repeat visit. We're seeing big drop offs there. No retention measurement. So when you don't understand your retention, you do not know who to reactivate, how often people are coming back, and that kind of hurts the business. So let's talk about what was changed. So we integrated the CRM that we do, and what we also do is we help communicate for our shops as well. So not only do they have a CRM, but we make sure it is getting used, because we use it for you, and make sure again that the texts are going back and forth with the consumer. And then we create service reminders, thank you campaigns, track all calls and texts and emails, create specials, seasonal campaigns coinciding with the owner to make sure that we understand what can be offered. These are things that we suggest, but everyone has certain elements of discounts and things that they even want to offer. So we want to make sure that we align with what's happening there. Automated follow-ups for declined work, overdue maintenance, just again, based coinciding with the shop management software that's been through. And then adding a missed call text back feature. So if for whatever reason we see a call happen, no one answered it, immediate text goes out to the consumer apologizing for not being able to answer right away. But then we create a text conversation that can delay the time to then let the owner know, hey, or the shop know, you guys need to give them a call ASAP. So do you offer a report that shows repeat customer rate? I'm not sure if that is in our report quite yet. I will have to double check in terms of, so typically we would look at just simply the shop management software. So because there'd be a report in there that splits up new customer to repeat customer, and you'd be able to see that percentage over time. And then naturally we have that data pool, but we don't have that populate against like that's the overall summary, because since it's in most shop management softwares. But again, if that's a informational piece, Mike, that we can add on and a lot of people want it, then it'd probably be a really easy thing to add on since we're already pulling all the data anyways. But yeah, typically that data point is hopefully in every shop management software where it just splits out your monthly revenue, your monthly car count, and it kind of shows repeat versus new sales, and you kind of get that custom, you get that percentage, and you can splice out the dates over time. But so it results in improvement and what took place. So more repeat customers through retention emails and texts. Most recent text blast in one day, they got 27 clicks just based on the text blast alone. And clicks are going to be linking to booking an appointment. And so did all 27 of them book an appointment? Probably not. I mean, we didn't go through and check out, but again, we can check and see how many texts are being clicked on, different campaigns that are working, and having 27 clicks in one day is a very, very high rate of potential volume in a single day, just by, again, different campaigns and the wordings that you send out. It's very, another thing that you don't want to be cookie cutter with in terms of the messaging that you send out. You want to try to make it feel as personable as possible, and again, make it as unique as possible each and every time to an individual to create a much higher likelihood that they click on the link to book an appointment. So faster response times lead to fewer missed opportunities, and then CRM data now used in like kind of monthly meetings with account managers as they kind of talk through different things that can be done. So then let's talk about reviews and reputation. So this is one of the cool things that we saw and identified. But so there's few recent Google, so over a 7-year span, I went through and manually counted because we didn't have a screenshot of what it was, and I counted 62 Google reviews that were through there. So again, it went as far back as 9 years ago was the first review that allowed me to load and populate, and scrolled up to then from the first one that we got. So that was created 62 reviews. Not a single one was responded to. So few recent Google reviews and inconsistent responses. No responses definitely does not help, and you're not taking advantage of just kind of creating more data points within Google, because Google reviews are indexed. So you want to make sure that you're responding to every and all reviews. And they didn't have any proactive review request process in place. So these are all sort of by the kindness of the individual going through Google and leaving a review. There was no real mechanism to ask. And then competitors dominated the top rated rankings here based on just reviews alone, because they just had so few in comparison. And it was a 4.6 review rating, which is not, again, terrible, but we need to make sure that we increase that. So the trust gap for first-time customers was definitely there. And then limited social proof hurt ad conversions and SEO ranking, because we need to create more and more social proof. When you get up and over that 100 mark and get through triple digits and beyond, things get much easier because there's plenty of social proof. But that's going to vary based on where you are, because again, some places having 50 is you have by far the most in the area, and others are you need over 1,000 to even be remotely competitive. So it's going to vary based on where you are in the game, but you need to get started right now. And then reviews occasionally went, and again, occasionally was a nice word to use, because not a single one was really, I think I saw 3 really, I guess. So not a single one, but they had very, very sparingly review responses. So what we changed. So we automated review requests after completed service. So we made sure that typically what we like to do is wait a day for a text to go out. And again, some people will send it right away. Some people wait a lot longer. Some people do it in person. It's going to vary based on what you do. We found it to be the most successful to do it a day, and that way they can get a feel for the car and almost give it a more genuine response of what happens there. Oh, I missed a question. Do you recommend responding to past reviews even years later, or does it not matter? I'd say I would only go as far back as, say, maybe 6 months from today, because again, there isn't that big a gain by responding so late now at this point. But if there's still some recency behind some reviews, it doesn't hurt to kind of go back a few months. But going back years and years later, there really isn't a point. At that point, it just looks like, oh, you forgot to respond to them, and now you're going through and responding to people, and the answer will not even seem that genuine or real. So there's no real point at that point to do that. But good question. What we also did was create an internal policy for consistent responses and again, gratitude follow-up. So we don't always want to send a link to review based on how what people, if they already left a review, they don't need to receive another link to leave a review. So certain things and automations that are done, and then any 5-star reviews we want to make sure are highlighted on the website, highlighted on social across the board, and make it very easy for people to, again, see that social proof of what's been happening. And so really what we then learned is that Google reviews now are currently at 465 total reviews at a 4.9 star average rating. You can go in and check if you don't want to take my word for it. So that equates to over 400 reviews in the span of just 2 years. Because again, we're talking about 2 years from today. And that is a crap ton of reviews and really speaks volumes to the work that they were able to do at a very high level. Because there's no way people are leaving reviews for bad service at a high clip and really increasing that average rating. So we were able to, again, a span over 2 years, 24 months, 400 new reviews. So or in that 15 to 20 range per month of new reviews, with an overwhelming amount of them being 5 stars. So again, simply by creating the right automation process of doing reviews. And I think that's one thing that we are very good at, and we see the gain of better Google reviews. Yes, Google reviews are not the #1 ranking factor for SEO, but it definitely helps having more social proof, and definitely is a factor in terms of ranking well in the Google Business Profile and the local maps. So definitely you want to get them, and you want to get a lot of them. And then getting it over a short time frame makes things easier to hit bigger goals that you want to have. So yeah, we're pulling up on 500 reviews here, which is pretty crazy to be able to see. So then you can see we improved the average rating and obviously rankings that coincided with that. Higher conversion for ad clicks, calls due to visible credibility, because we make sure we screenshot those different reviews and the overall rating and how that pulls through. People trust that. So 4.6 rating to 4.9 increase over the span of 2 years. That's a pretty big deal. And then again, just the sheer volume. Now they have the most in their local area, I believe, as well, when they were way behind some of their competitors. So yeah, pretty cool to be able to see in such a, again, 2 years in the grand scheme of things is not that long. And then integration and continuous optimization that we have going on. So marketing channels, they ran separately. There are no shared data, as we kind of talked about before. No feedback loop between website, ads, shop results, etc. Hard to pinpoint which efforts were driving any growth whatsoever. Missed opportunities to scale proven tactics faster. So things that needed to be changed: unified website, SEO, Google Ads, CRM, reviews across the board. Just data being tracked to understand what needed to keep pushing in this direction, what needed to potentially peel off, what was working, what was not. Those things all happen across the board. Regular monthly meetings with our team to consistently go through what is working and what is not. Because there's one thing to show, hey, I'm seeing SEO rankings are appearing better, but if the results at the shop aren't really being felt that way, things need to be adjusted. So we want to make sure that those things are happening across the board, and monthly meetings can make that happen. And it's not a set it and forget it type of thing where you only reach out when you're frustrated. No, we don't want that. We want to make sure that regardless of if you're ecstatic or you're frustrated, we know what's going on in the background. The team is working hard, and then we know how to adjust and pivot as needed. And then reallocated ad spend and content strategy based on real-time results. So we don't always just can leave ads in one area or do a content strategy in one area. If we're seeing a pivot, and if we're also seeing pivots on different clients, and it's certain things that we try and do and works really great in one area, then we slowly implement across the board, because we want everyone to reap the benefit of a result and a test that we find to be beneficial. So continuous optimization, data-driven decisions, improve performance across all services. So we're big on understanding the data that's happening to then tell us what to even suggest, and also to pivot and do as needed. Clear connection between the online activity and shop level results, sustainable long-term growth trajectory across all KPIs. So proof of this is backed with the financial growth, which I want to go into as well, which again, very grateful that they're Zegers Automotive and the team there were graceful enough to allow us to even share some of these things and go through it with them, because they've been hitting record months. They've been pumped and stoked, and we're like, hey, we want to try a new webinar in terms of just like kind of really showing what something was like before, what something is like after and during, what what we have going on, and they're all on board for it. So again, I'm grateful for them for allowing us to do this. But so before, again, this is what we were talking about, the lack of marketing efforts, revenue pretty flat, unpredictable car count. Monthly revenue wasn't around that 112K mark though, so still a solidly healthy business. So you get $1.5-ish million in revenue, which you can't bat an eye at. It's pretty solid in terms of that trajectory there, and 165 monthly average car count there. But now as we look at things today, so it grew from 112K per month to 236K plus per month on average that they're rolling through, with some really, really strong months. So 65.7% year-over-year revenue increase that we're seeing over, again, that 2-year span. Car count has increased around an average from 165 to 234 per month. So looking at a 42.1% increase year-over-year car count average. So very, very good, solid growth there as we continue to build that new customer base and keep them coming back. Several record-breaking months revenue in a row, improved month-over-month performance, steady gains rather than spikes. So keeping things a lot more predictable of what will be a baseline of what comes in any given month, and obviously trying to beat those baselines. And then stronger lead to consumer conversion due to optimizing an SEO, ads, brand consistency across the board in the area. And then since starting with us, they were able to expand their shop, and they purchased the building next to them to increase the amount of bays and the capacity for their work. So they're working with, again, a certain base, but by building the efficiencies and now having that trust that the amount of leads and volume that is coming through, and then they're able to expand and do that, which I'm always super excited when people are able to expand, people grow and buy another shop. It's just like, it's why we as business owners are doing what we're doing. We're here to support different people in different ways, and shops support the local community so well, and having multiple shops in the area support even more people is super cool to be able to do. Not easy by any lengths, and I know it's a grind as you go through it, but super, again, satisfying to be able to see people grow, especially if there's marketing that we're able to help do. So again, that is everything across the board. Hopefully we covered a good amount here, and kind of a peek behind the curtain of what it is that we do. If there are any other questions, again, please feel free to throw it in the chat. I'm grateful for all the interaction everyone was able to have so far today, as we were able to chat about these different things. Again, for those watching on YouTube, the replay, or wherever else you may be watching it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and then leave comments of different questions that you have, because I'll go through and read them. Our team will go through, make sure that I get my eyes on them, and we'll respond. But if you're like, hey, you don't want to wait for your questions to be answered and you just want to meet with us, then we do free strategy sessions. So in that sense of, we meet with you beforehand, we do some research on your given shop of what you currently have going on, what your competitors have going on, what things that are good, what things that are bad, how things should look like in the future if, again, you were to implement certain efforts and do certain things. So we walk through all those different things. And again, at the end of the day, even if you decide not to go forward and say that you need our services, hopefully you come out of it with value of like, hey, I at least have these action items or things that I need to bring back to my current team of things that we need to look at and make sure that we're doing to consistently improve and really beat our competition in the area. And you can do all those things, again, by scanning the QR codes that have been out throughout this whole thing. You can give us a call, email us, visit this link, visit our website. There's so many different ways you can find us on social media. So really, we try to make it as easy as possible to make that happen there. We have a free marketing checklist that, again, we try to update once or twice a year, where it's not just going to be outdated data. So feel free to take a look at our checklist. Go.liftautorepairmarketing.com/marketing checklist. It will just walk you through the different areas of your online marketing presence and just making sure that, hey, are these things done or not? And you can check them off as you go along. And if you haven't already, please join our Facebook group. It's free. Auto Repair Shop Owners Mastermind on Facebook. 2,000 people in there, all shop owners, sharing different advice and topics of the latest and greatest. Having some people have questions about a struggle they maybe have, and other owners jump in and answer with their thoughts. So it's super cool to be involved in. And so if you're not already in it, please feel free to jump in there and join it. We also have a book. So Drive More Business, You can find it on Amazon and Kindle. And again, my wife and I wrote that a couple of years ago. We might need to write a new one here pretty soon because marketing world changes super fast. And so some of the things in there may even be a little outdated at this point because, again, it's just such an iterative process in marketing and learning, especially with AI becoming more and more prevalent as well. So again, we might have another book coming down the road where we just have some more latest and greatest updates for the industry there. So that is everything that I have for you all today. I really appreciate the time that you guys take out your day to spend with me and hear what we have to say. Hopefully, again, we're bringing value. If at all we aren't, please let me know. Or if there's a certain topic that you want us to talk about, please let me know. And we'll make sure that we get a topic on the calendar to bring up those different things, answer those different questions. And again, if there's more people that want to hear about one certain thing, absolutely, we'll make sure that happens because we want to bring as much value to this industry as we possibly can. And this is one of the ways that I believe we can do it really, really well. It's just kind of sharing information, sharing things that are done. This is a little bit of a different style that we did today in terms of really sharing an example of a shop and things that we exactly went through and looked at and did and adjusted the strategy that we had behind it of why we did it. And then obviously it resulted in really big things for them. So yeah, if there's ever any questions or you want to reach out to Zegers Automotive, feel free to. Jess is an awesome guy, and I'm grateful that, again, he was able to allow us to do this and share the growth that his shop has been able to experience. But if you want to experience this too, reach out to us. We'll be happy to chat and talk. But thank you all for being here. We'll chat again next time. Have a great Halloween tomorrow, and we'll see you guys again later. Bye.